evening, my dear friends. Today we are going to explore a very interesting question. Today we are going to rethink the concept of the future. We've all lived our lives up to today having a particular concept of what the future is. But today we are going to challenge that. We're going to question that. What is the future? How do we all perceive the future? Could our perceptions be incorrect? And what if the future was something quite different to the way we know it? How would that affect our material lives and our spiritual well-being? What opportunities would it create? So during tonight's webinar, we're going to go through a very interesting journey of exploration, which I hope by the end of which I will have left you with ample food for thought and perhaps a different way of looking at the future starting today. Now, let's refresh our memories on what is equilibrium. As I said last week, that equilibrium is to be thought of, everyone thinks of it as balances, plus or minus, or like the seesaw, up or down. And when it's at equilibrium, when it's at balance, it's in the middle. Or a weigh scale. When it balances, that's the weight. Yes, that is a definition. But equilibrium is a lot more holistic when it comes to life, when it comes to creation, when it comes to all our dimensions of living. And I shared with you the example of the wave, where the wave that is created, which you see going up and down, is not an outcome of plus or minus. It is an outcome of everything that happens before the wave, everything that happens after the wave, everything that happens within the water. All these things, all these aspects come together and reach a neutral zone where the wave exists. And that is equilibrium. And I also shared with you the example of when you look at the color of a rich green color of a leaf, how many shades of light from the dark to the bright all come together to give you the richness of that color. It's not plus or minus one, it's a combination, a holistic combination of so many shades of light. So equilibrium is to be thought of from this holistic perspective. Now, in our material life, we're surrounded by material creations like waves, like leaves. We ourselves are a creation of equilibrium. It took a lot more than plus or minus to make us who we are. For example, our physical bodies operate on the basis of equilibrium for its survival. Think about your circulation system. It has to operate in full balance. Every veinlet on one side is matched by the veinlet on the other. It's like that sacred tree in the parable of the light we talked about. Your circulation system has to be in complete equilibrium for your body to survive. Your lungs have to be completely balanced in how they work so that you maintain the correct concentration of oxygen in your blood, so that you are able to move carbon dioxide and all toxins out at the correct rate, so that you control the buildup of nitrogen in your blood. So your lungs are a great example of how we survive through equilibrium. If we think about our minds, our thoughts, and how they affect our physical form, our emotions, highly stressful ones, anger, rage, what do they do to the body? They throw the body off equilibrium, and then the body becomes ill and struggles to restore its equilibrium. So my point is, just like the wave forms in the ocean, with so many aspects of water in front of it, behind it, within it, all having to come together for the wave to exist, so does our body, so does our mind and spirit, all put together, which are a lot more complex than the wave. But they all have to come together for us to be here, alive and well. Therefore, if we understood equilibrium and worked with it, we could consciously enhance our health, our well-being, the quality of our material journey and its experiences. Now, in previous classes, we talked about the first part of equilibrium, which was the spiritual side, and we talked about the parable of light. So today, let us focus on how equilibrium impacts our material life. And we'll learn how to work with our karmic compass and our karmic eye, which is something new that we will talk about. And we'll work with these elements to try and maximize the value of every moment in our material journey. After all, how long is a lifetime? 60 years, 80 years, 50 years? My dear friends, life is very, very short. It's just like the blink of an eye. So every moment needs to be lived with pure value, pure focus. And this is where knowing and living with equilibrium can help change our lives and experiences dramatically. The events will not change, but how we live through them certainly can. Now, what I'm going to share with you may turn your material perceptions of this world upside down. So I apologize in advance. But what I'm going to share with you is something for you to consider, something for you to explore, reflect upon, and decide how equilibrium and your mindset can work together. And it can work together to enrich your life's journey ahead. So take it as food for thought. Now, in the Bhagavad Gita, just before the war starts between the Pandavas and the Kauravas, which is a war between good and evil, Sri Krishna is in the chariot with Arjun of the Pandav clan. And he says something quite earth-shattering to Arjun. This is when Arjun refuses to slay his teachers and people he loves from the Kaurav clan. Even though this is a war between good and evil, he cannot take up arms against his teachers. And Krishna urges him to proceed with the battle, and Arjuna is reluctant, not out of fear, because his side is powerful, but out of the beliefs he had lived with to date, such as you bow to your teachers, you don't attack them, you care for the people you love. And Sri Krishna says to him, they will not spare you for a second. So don't be deluded by this. But Arjun doesn't budge. So then Sri Krishna tells him something very profound, very profound. And I'll paraphrase what he says, because this is part of the scripture. He says, they are all already slain. So all you must do now is go into the battlefield and experience the process. So they are all already slain. All you need to do is go into the battlefield and experience the process. This was earth-shattering for me, and it got me thinking. Because in my perspective, Sri Krishna is saying that the future has already happened. Now go forward and experience it. Realize it at a material level, as a material experience. And isn't that an amazing statement? How come I didn't realize this before? I could have lived my life so differently, because my view of the future is so different. So let's go back to the lessons we learned on karma. And I do suggest you revisit the video recording of the class on karma, master class on karma, just to refresh your memories. But let us briefly revisit the story of Malcolm. Malcolm is a soul who has decided to take birth on this earth to complete his journey of learning. And he has evolved as a soul in so many wonderful ways, climbing up many stages in his spiritual journey. And now he is in the presence of the Creator, seeking the blessing of life in this material world to further his learning and knowledge. Now, some of the key lessons he asks of the Creator to grant him, they include a much deeper engagement with the Creator. In a world where his Creator is unseen and mostly ignored. So in this life, he wants to engage deeply with his Creator amidst a world where his Creator is unseen and mostly ignored. So he's picking a challenging path. overcoming fear through complete trust in his creator. So his as a soul is trying to ground himself completely in the knowledge of his creator. So he wants to overcome fear through complete trust in his creator. He seeks to learn total detachment and therefore only attachment to his creator. So we can tell that Malcolm is a soul very advanced, now getting down to the final stages of knowledge and knowledge of the true light. So, with the will and blessing of the creator, he proceeds to manifest in the world, having chosen his journey and everything within it. He chooses which souls are to be his parents and all other major components of his journey in a similar manner. He has the freedom to choose all his lessons and what he wants to derive from life. And he is given complete freedom to choose and create his life's journey. This journey forms the basis of his soul bond, which we talked about at some length. A bond between the soul and its creator. A beautiful bond, which will now be lived in the material world. Some people call that destiny. Remember, Malcolm creates his destiny before he is born. It is important to remember this aspect in the context of what we are going to learn next. So based on Malcolm's soul bond, the loving, nurturing forces of karma are engaged and his karmic compass is set. It is set to deliver him all the experience he asked for, to deliver him the destiny he has created, which includes all that he seeks to learn from this journey in the material world. If he fulfills this bond in its entirety and converts all his karmic experience to knowledge and light, his soul will have gained great accomplishment from this short lifetime on the earth. Now, in the class on karma, we explored two possible life journeys of Malcolm in order to understand how the karmic compass works. Just a quick recap. Malcolm is in the UK and he's at university and he's deeply in love with Alice, who is also a student in the same university, and at the graduation ceremony, Alice proposes they get married. And there is a major crossroad. So what does Malcolm do? And we explored two routes. One was that he does agree to marry Alice. And that takes him through a life's journey where he ends up being the person who found the cure for AIDS. And when he dies, his life is celebrated on every news media channel in the world. What an amazing life. If you go back to the graduation ceremony and take option 2, where Alice proposes marriage to him and he says no, because he wants to explore the world. And Alice leaves him, proceeds with her own life's journey, and Malcolm ends up in Hong Kong, gets married to Kathy, then develops an immense passion for Buddhism, and ends up leaving his family, Kathy, and his children, which is a very hurtful experience, and hurting a lot of people in his journey. But he ends up in Tibet and becomes the chief monk of the monastery there. The Chinese invade Tibet, he is arrested, and he dies one day in a cold, freezing Chinese prison, and is buried in an unmarked grave. So you would say that was an unremarkable life. Yet, the second option, actually, rough as it was for everyone, delivered to him his soul bond, as set forth in his karmic compass. So based on the words of Sri Krishna in the battle between Pandavas and Kauravas, for Malcolm, the future had already happened. Option 2 was already set in his karmic compass. And it sounds shocking, but that's how he lived option 2. And he lived through it and experienced all the events fully. And he fulfilled his soul bond with his creator through the karmic compass. Now let's explore the concept of future further together through the story of Jay and the angel of death. It's a very interesting conversation between the two, because I think through their conversation you're going to start to see other dimensions of future you may not have considered. So Jay is a 55-year-old, highly successful banker on Wall Street in New York, and he started from zero, from very humble beginnings in India, and his family was extremely poor, and so he goes to the US illegally and starts working. So he's an illegal immigrant. And because his family was very poor, he decided to break away from the cycle of poverty and change his life. So he starts by working in restaurants, cleaning dishes in the back, helping out, until his English gets good enough for him to be serving tables. And because he's a charming personality, people warm up to him very quickly. So one day, Cheryl, a good patron of the restaurant, who is a very successful banker and also extremely wealthy, ends up coming to lunch at his restaurant by herself after suffering setbacks in court in her divorce proceedings. She is very, very upset. And she needs to talk to a friendly face, someone who would listen to her and not judge her. And Jay has always been her favorite waiter. So she engages into a long conversation with him that day. And normally she comes, she's so busy, she comes with clients, has her lunch, and rushes off. But today, her clock has stopped. She just wanted some time with someone who was not in her business circle, someone kind who would simply listen to her with no biases. So their conversation does not end during the end of his shift. She meets up with Jay after his shift is over and continues to share whatever she chose to share with him about the challenges of her life while he listens. And he listens with genuine care for her. They become good friends, subsequently fall in love, and after her divorce comes through, they move into together in her Central Park apartment. So Jay's life is on its way up. She sponsors Jay's education at Columbia University, being an alumni of Columbia University, and supports him all the way through his education until he gets an MBA from Columbia. She becomes his friend, his lover, his mentor, and his benefactor. She opens doors for him in the finance world, and Jay shoots up like a superstar, becoming one of New York's very wealthy bankers. He's so mesmerized with his new world and his success that he ends up working 18 hours a day, passionately chasing new deals and making as much money as he can. And Cheryl and Jay are happy together, but the time they get with each other is sharply reduced day by day. And Jay does not realize that he has developed a heart problem. And one day in his 55th year, he suffers a massive heart attack while at home and is visited by the friendly angel Cyrus, who we have met in previous classes. Remember Cyrus and Luminous, the two friendly angels who helped design the human mind? I think it was in the creativity masterclass, faculty of creativity. Again, revisit that. It's an interesting recording of the class. So today Cyrus's mission is to escort Jay back home to his true abode. And Cyrus is obviously one of the more friendly guys. So Jay pleads with him for more time. And he wants more time so that he can take care of his affairs. He can spend more time with Cheryl, who missed him dearly. He could travel to India to reconnect with the family he left behind in poverty and abandoned them so many years ago. And so Jay feels in these last moments of his life, these are things he absolutely needs to do. And Cyrus is a very kind angel, so he hears him out. And Jay says to him, "My life has been really tough and challenging. I came from nothing, and I built all this slogging day and night to get here. And now that I've made it, you have come to take me away. I can't even enjoy my wealth or do all the things I wanted to do." So Cyrus asked him, "Things like what?" He said, I owe so much to Cheryl for all her love and support. I haven't shown her my gratitude, nor have I given her the time and attention she deserves. And now I have to leave her behind without making it right. When I left India, I never looked back. I never kept in touch with my family. And I never did anything for them even after I became wealthy. They were suffering and struggling, but all I could see was my own ambitions and drive for success. I need to go back there and make things right. He said, on my way up in my career, I stabbed several people in the back who trusted me as I tried to climb up the ladder, and I rode the crests of success on their backs. I need to make things right with them. I cannot leave like this. He said, I've always wanted to visit Japan during cherry blossom season and sit in their gardens and melt away in their beautiful blooms. And there are so many other places in the world I would have liked to visit. But now you're telling me it's time to go. Now Cyrus realizes that if he lets Jay keep talking, his requests are going to be unending. So he stops Jay and asks him some simple questions. He says, why did you not do, when you told me of all these aspects of life that you need to make things right with, why did you not see them earlier? Why did you not do anything about them? And Jay says, I was too engrossed in the future, being anxious and paranoid about my deals and my share of profits and protecting myself from getting screwed. I couldn't see anything else. So Cyrus says, you mean getting screwed like you did to so many others to get ahead? And Jay puts his head down and says, yes, sheepishly, he admits. Cyrus says, did you know that your future had already happened the moment you were born? All you had to do was experience the journey and realize everything you could from all the events that came your way. Remember the word realize. You thought you were shaping the future, but in truth, you were wasting valuable time on something that had already happened. So you failed to appreciate the journey and make the most of it by chasing the impossible. So Jay is now confused. How can you say that the future has happened? So he says, what does that mean? He asks Cyrus. So the angel Cyrus says to him, the moment you chose to come in this world, you asked the Creator for what you wanted to learn, and your wish was granted. At that point, your karmic compass was set. Your future was not written. It had already happened. It had manifested. All you needed to do was live the journey, experience it at best, and gain the learning you sought. Instead, you lived most of your life out of fear. You were fearing what may or may not happen, whereas in reality, everything had already happened. You just needed to encounter it with grace and learn from it. Your request to me for extra time includes many aspects of your life where you were way off your equilibrium. Your family in India, your life with Cheryl and indebtedness to her for her kindness, your desire to experience the world, your wish to make things right with those you had wronged. If you lived in equilibrium, all this would have unfolded for you peacefully and with fulfillment, and you would not be asking me for more time. So Jay is saying, what is this equilibrium you are talking about? This is something new for me. So Cyrus sketches a simple diagram of a compass with 8 cardinals and a circle in the middle. Let me show you this diagram. Let me share it on the screen. So this is the diagram. And Cyrus has drawn this as a summary of Jay's life. The center is his karmic compass, which is where the future that he had created, the destiny he had created, has manifested. Each of these cardinals or arrows represents aspects of learning that he was going to gain from this life. Now, in the middle is the karmic eye, which I will talk about a bit later. But a fully realized life would have been, and one with equilibrium would have been one where all the arrows would have been equal. They would have been neutral. Just like the wave that exists when all the other elements come together. Instead, he chased wealth, and he made that a cornerstone of his existence. But if you look at his life with Cheryl, they were together, they were in love, they journeyed together. But while that whole journey unfolded for him, all he realized from the future that had manifested was this much. He didn't experience it, even if it was before his eyes, even if he was walking the path, he failed to experience it fully. So his karmic achievement is only partial. His family ties, it's just a little line. So much he could have accomplished if he had maintained contact with them. Experiencing the world, I mean, he's talking about cherry blossoms in Japan, but him and Cheryl together went to some of the most beautiful places together around where they lived. He could have experienced nature and all the beauties he wanted to, and he could have completed this because he was physically there, but didn't take it in. Self-correction. Now he wants to go and make things right with everybody. But all he managed to do was very little. His health and well-being. If he had focused on his health and well-being, and this arrow were completed, so much here would have improved. His spiritual growth. He could have gained so much from every event that came his way. Instead, he's right down here. If he had completed this, all the cardinals would have come into equilibrium, because this would have driven his choices. This would have driven his decisions. This would have driven his decisions. Happiness. He could have achieved all that, and when you are happy, you think differently. You're more at a neutral level. So again, he didn't achieve so much here. So this is the life's journey of Jay. Now let's come back and talk about this karmic eye. So the karmic eye is what you have to constantly look through in your life by being fully immersed in the present. Every class we've had since day one, I've always emphasized the importance of living in the present. And being fully immersed in the present grants you constant awareness of everything that has manifested for you. And when you are aware, you're going to see. You've experienced, so Cyrus says to Jay, you've experienced deja vu, haven't you? Deja vu is where you suddenly realize that you have lived certain moments. And when it comes, you know exactly that moment, and you know exactly what you're going to say, and you know exactly what the other person is going to say and what's going to come next, down to the exact words. So deja vu is where you actually saw through your karmic eye. You actually witness the future that has happened. This is why it is so clear to you, every little thing that is going to happen. And then when you encounter the event in your physical life, you know it. You know it fully. You even know everything after it, up to a certain point. So deja vu is real. It is not something your mind could possibly conjure. It's very accurate. And certain very good fortune tellers can tell you about your future. Not because it's going to happen. They are just catching a glimpse of what has happened and telling you about it. And remember, once a future has happened, it cannot be reversed. But these fortune tellers can actually see and tell you what has happened. So deja vu happens to everyone. But they don't realize what it is, Cyrus says. They don't realize how important deja vu is. And when it occurs, they see through their karmic eye, he says, when they are semi-conscious or actually superconscious. Why do they have to be semi-conscious or superconscious to be able to see through this eye? So Cyrus says, because he's talking about humanity, he says in their conscious mind, they are all scattered between the past and between creating the future, missing the present, where only one can access consciously the karmic eye in the present. And so then Cyrus decides he's going to teach Jay something very important, so that Jay can understand what is this meaning of future has happened. So he says, the Buddhists have a very interesting practice. He says they use sand to produce the most beautiful image of something. So I'm going to share an example with you of an image made by Tibetan monks of a mandala created from sand granules. And I found it online. It's fascinating. Let me share this with you. And there's a great deal of significance in this whole concept of their thinking, which we can benefit from. So here is the mandala. Almost looks like a carpet. But this is made from multiple sand granules of different colors. And they put these together with precision. Sometimes they even blow with a little tube to get it exactly where it needs to be. And these monks spend a long time. They start with sand and colors and end up with something this perfect. And then, once it's done, they scramble it all, and all you're left with is colored sand again. So when they are making this painting or this perfect image, let's call it the perfect image. So every time I use the word perfect image, you'll understand it's something like this. They're constructing this image with perfection until it can get no better. Then, as I said, they all take a good look at it, and it is real, and it has manifested before their eyes. Remember, that whole image is manifested before their eyes, just like your future has. Then they mix up the sand granules back to their original form, and the image disappears visually for the moment. But the important point is it has already been conceived. It has manifested. It has happened. Remember, each granule of sand makes up part of the image. And all granules of sand come together to make it perfect and complete. So the future is like that perfect image. It has manifested. It is there. It has been conceived. Now you live with each one of the sand granules in your life, which are the events and experiences you gain each day. Each one is a granule. And as life progresses, you encounter each granule one by one until you have experienced them all. That's the full extent of your life. Realizing the manifested future, piece by piece, event by event. You get to know each granule one at a time, and through pure equilibrium, you will be able to see how it has been crafted into this perfect image of your future. But Angel Cyrus says, my dear Jay, instead of treating the granules like precious pearls, human beings focus on trying to shape and create the future. You are all trying to create that perfect image which is already manifested. There's nothing for you to create or shape. It's already been shaped. So what a waste of time and what a waste of the present moment. Instead, in the present moment, you should be experiencing and knowing each granule one by one, listening carefully to what is said, everything that is said, and everything that is not said, taking in every image of creation and seeing it fully. Remember, there's a big difference between looking and seeing. Seeing means appreciating and internalizing the extraordinary in the ordinary. You can look at each granule and appreciate it. only part of it, your experience is incomplete. But when you see the granule and you internalize it, you will know fully, with its essence, what it is. And when you look and see deeply into every material creation that comes your way, you will recognize pure equilibrium in each creation. So, my dear Jay, your purpose is to experience every moment and not to worry about creating the future. The future has already been created by you in your soul bond, and it has now happened through your karmic compass. The granules of sand are with you. Focus on them instead and let the full perfect image manifest in your life in its fullness and richness. This way, every cardinal on your compass will be perfect and complete because all cardinals will be at equilibrium with one another. So, my dear friends, this is what Sri Krishna was saying to Arjun. When I was writing about Jay and Cyrus and this whole thing, this is what Sri Krishna was saying to Arjun. The perfect image created of the future had shown all his enemies had been slain. It had happened. Arjun needed to do, all he needed to do was to experience the battle granule by granule. What a beautiful perspective to consider, I would say. And this perspective can enrich our present moments boundlessly by taking the fear of the future out of the equation. Because if you know it has manifested, you're not sitting there speculating, you're not fearing anything. It has happened. You are living it. And this is how equilibrium sets in. Once you accept that the future has manifested, it has happened, equilibrium sets in and your vision through your karmic eye gets perfected, granule by granule. And deja vu is an important reminder. And when it happens to you next, pause and remind yourself of today's class. Your deja vu is telling you something. And it usually does so when you need to be reminded that you are wasting your time trying to shape your future. Deja vu is showing you visually, with full clarity, what your future is. And it never lies. I've met many people who've been gifted with the ability to see events in the future. There's several of you here in this group who I've spoken to. And even when they know something bad is going to happen, they see it, but they can't do anything to stop it. Why? Because it has already happened. And what has happened cannot be reversed. And so they all say, I wish I could have done that, but I just couldn't. You can't. But they have been gifted with the ability to see what the future that has happened. So now, Jay has a question for Angel Cyrus, because what he's heard is pretty interesting. So he says, then what about my power of choice? If the future has happened, where is my choice? And Cyrus laughs and he says, that's a good question. So he says, let us start by understanding choice. A choice is in fact a decision, a simple decision of what one wishes to do. Now, how do you make a decision? You bring together so many aspects of your being into each decision. By drawing from several wells, let's think of them like being wells of water. So when you have to make a decision, you draw the well of your perceptions will show you the pros and cons of that decision as you see them in the present. So there is the well of your perceptions. Then you draw from your well of wisdom and see how that plays out in your decision. Then you draw from the well of your experiences of your past and you bring that before you make your decision or exercise your choice. Then you draw from the well of ethics. You draw from the well of faith, and so on. So you draw from all these wells in the present moment when trying to make a choice. So to make a choice, you need to engage your awareness fully. And so you draw from these important wells. It is these wells that give you the greatest value from each choice and each experience. Full value of knowledge. So power of choice is critical to realizing your future granule by granule, because it gives you maximum awareness. If you didn't have to choose, if you didn't have to make that decision, you would not draw from all these ever-growing wells within you, which really become knowledge. It is your power of choice that is the key to realizing the future that has happened. And Cyrus says, your understanding of choice up to today has been misguided. I'm sorry to tell you that. Because you've grown up thinking that someone out there like God has been pulling strings in your life. Heavens no. Your journey of realizing the future has everything to do with you, not with God. You already exercised your power, your first power of choice, when you chose to create your soul bond and destiny. That was your primary power of choice, which you exercised, and you laid out your destiny. You created the destiny. That primary power of choice gave you the power to create the future. And yes, the Creator did grant you that by His will. So indeed, your future has been blessed by His will. So when the scriptures say, submit to the will of the Creator, that is very accurate. Every granule of sand of the image of your future has been created and blessed by the will of your Creator, your origin. So when you submit to His will, you stop trying to create the future. You simply accept His will and realize your future and experience it fully. So that's what the scriptures mean. They guide us to be intelligent about how we perceive the future. When you say submit to the will of the Creator, it has many meanings, but here is an important one, which is accept the future, embrace the future. It has happened, and it's happened by His will, but now you realize it granule by granule. Because if you don't accept the will of the Creator, you're trying to create something which has already been created. You're trying to play God. So this message of the scripture is actually very profound, very deep. And then Cyrus says to Jay, the power of choice, even after you're born, still resides in you. And this is the secondary power of choice. And this secondary power of choice gives you the power to realize the future exactly the way you created it. Remember, there's a big difference between creating the future and realizing the future. And both need power of choice. And you have already exercised the creating future part. In this life now, you're exercising the realization of the future. So he says, let's take, for example, Cheryl. Your future shows that you have met Cheryl already, according to your karmic compass. That's already shown. You have met Cheryl. Now, your journey in this world is about using your intellect, learning and experiencing all aspects of this rich journey of life with Cheryl, because we're focusing on Cheryl as an example. Gaining knowledge from each experience as you realize the future with her. So she has happened. For that, you must have power of choice, which you use to decide what courses of action to take at every crossroad in life where Cheryl is concerned and where your relationship is concerned. Because while your future together has happened, you don't know all the granules yet that made up that perfect image. You have to encounter them and experience them. And that's where you engage your intellect, and that's how you engage with life. It doesn't happen without awareness. And the process of choice and decision making engages that awareness. And of course, the events that will unfold have already occurred. But what you get out of each event of the journey is precious, precious knowledge. If you had known that, the cardinal arrow of your relationship with Cheryl would have been complete, not just half complete as it is today. At each crossroad in your journey with her, when exercising your power of choice, you would have considered her kindness, and you would have considered your indebtedness to her, and you would have made choices that fulfilled that obligation correctly. But you didn't. So even though you did you physically experience your life's journey with Cheryl? Yes, because it has happened in your future. But did you realize the journey to its maximum value? No. And your cardinal, your arrow on the compass shows it. So Cyrus continues, have you ever heard about an unrealized future? And Jay replies, no, I don't know. What is an unrealized future? And Cyrus says, come back to the compass. The length of all the arrows I showed you about your life's journey, you have experienced the future as it occurred, but you did not get as much out of it as you could have. So while you walked the path of your future, you only partially realized that future. If you had lived with equilibrium in your core thinking, all your arrows would have been equal in accomplishment. You just went down the path of wealth at the expense of everything else. And now you want more time from me to make things right. So you can see now why your fear was so pointless. You wasted so much of your life in fear of the future when it had already occurred. All you had to do was walk the path and realize the process and learn from it. And Cyrus continued, your power of choice led you to an unrealized future. Knowing what you know now, I believe you would have used your power of choice to make you look at each granule of sand from the perfect image, which is your manifested future, and say, how must I receive and embrace this granule and make me know it fully? It has come my way for a reason. So I choose to focus on it completely in the present and do my best with it and take in all the experience and knowledge I can from it. That's how you use your power of choice. So choose to be in the present. Choose to live in compartments. When you live in compartments, every person you're with is that one compartment. You focus on them fully. Every event you are in is one compartment. You focus on it fully. I could not be sitting here talking to you while my mind is somewhere else. I'm totally in this compartment with you. So choose to live in compartments with 100% focus. And think of each compartment as a granule of sand from that perfect image that has been created as your future. Choose to be happy. Choose to help others and be kind. Choose to be ethical. These are all marvelous uses of your power of choice. Choose to make the most of your life's journey and choose to live in equilibrium. And do not choose to be the master of your destiny because you've already created your destiny before birth. Destiny for you now is simply a journey of experiencing and realizing the future you have created, nothing more. And according to this destiny, every dollar that you thought you made had already come to you. But you wasted so much time relentlessly chasing your dollars, stabbing people in the back, only to receive the exact amount that was already yours. You could have enjoyed the journey so much better, Jay. Remember, what is truly yours, none can take away. And what is not yours, none can give you, no matter how high you jump up and down. Because the future has transpired and all account books are balanced. So if you had recognized this and lived in the center of your karmic compass, the karmic eye, where true equilibrium exists, then all the cardinals of your compass would have looked very different. Their lens would be even. They would have reflected a realized future. Jay then asks Cyrus, because his time is up in this world, he says, if the future has happened, then tell me, where does hope fit into this? In my life, I hoped for the best. We all hope for a better tomorrow. We hope for things to happen in the ways that benefit us. Why would I hope knowing everything has already happened? And Cyrus was impressed by this question. It's an intelligent question. And he says to Jay, let us look at what is hope. It is an expectation. Hope is a positive expectation. Hope is an expectation based on faith that the universe is there to give you the best. Hope is that power that motivates you to take the challenge on every day. Hope is an excellent and potent blessing each being is graced with. Consider the moment when you made your soul bond and set your karmic compass. Think of it as if you were at university, agreeing with your professors on the exact curriculum that you wanted to follow to earn your degree. So go to your mind back, and as you were creating your destiny, if you are sitting with your university professors and creating the exact curriculum you want to earn your degree with. And then the curriculum was set, just as you wanted it. That's how the future is set for you now. Your hope at that instant is that you make the most from every moment of this curriculum and learn everything there is to learn, so that you will earn a degree that is fulfilling and complete. That is your hope at time equals 0. But then you forgot about this hope. And now it has been that how well placed it was, but you've forgotten about it. Now you have lived your life so far with hope, and it has helped you a great deal, enabling you to come out of poverty and get you, even to have a partially realized future. But you have placed your hope in an incorrect mental framework where the future is concerned. You hoped you could create the future to suit what you wanted it to. You hoped that you could change the future to meet your deepest desire. In this case, your hope was to rewrite the curriculum that you had already set for yourself. And that, as you know, is not possible. Your original hope was to gain the most from this curriculum. And you should have lived your life by placing your hope in that objective, instead of praying to shape and rewrite it to suit your desires. Your hope should always have been to realize every experience in your life's journey, fully taking in each event, one by one, learning from it. You see, hope attaches an important value to each event. It makes you look forward to its arrival so that you can draw the most from it. So hope engages your faith in your Creator, that whatever soul bond you have made with your Creator, your hope is that it may be fulfilled. You live your life's journey with that faith and hope, that your journey is going to deliver you all that you had sought to learn from it. This is hope when you look at it in true essence. If you're totally engrossed in your material life, absent of conscious connection with your Creator, absent of your power of faith, you begin to hope for things at a very minuscule level. If they happen, you're happy. And if they don't, you say there's no God. It's like the man in the casino at a roulette table, hoping his numbers will come. He jumps up when they do and is very disappointed when they don't. He said, that is not hope, Cyrus says. That is just a wasted mental exercise. Wasting the present trying to make something happen when it already has. So you need to step out of that small mindset and hope for greater things, Cyrus says. Remember, the future was not given to you for speculation. That would be wasting your and everyone's time. And sadly, that's what humanity has degraded the future to, something to speculate with. The future was granted to you for living, and living it as fully as it unfolds before you in the present moment. Of course, if you have to make decisions in the present that require you to project into future options, yes, that's good, that's fine, because it's simply being intelligent. But if you're in trouble and spend days imagining every single bad thing that could happen to you, all that does is fill you with fear and wastes your opportunity in the present to get out of your troubles. So celebrate the fact that you have been blessed with life, that you have been blessed with resources, with loved ones, with experiences. This is all part of your journey. Your hope should always rest in your faith that your soul bond will be realized. Your hope should be that you will derive the most from every event, that you will live in a way that enables all the cardinals of your compass to be of the same length. Your hope in the midst of challenges and difficulties must be that after every dark storm, there is sunshine, and your moments of sunshine will follow, where you will have learned what the darkness came to teach you, and now gain relief and enjoy what the sunshine brings. This makes you a truly grateful soul, Jay. That is faith. That is hope. Elevate your hope to the status it deserves. Let it shine within you with your faith. And stop placing hope in unimportant things. Place it where it truly matters, and you will never be disappointed, because power of hope can take you right into the karmic eye and put you at a place with the knowledge that all is always okay. That's how you best utilize the blessing of hope. All is always the way it should be, the way it needs to be. You're exactly in the right place at the right time, doing the right things. All is well. And hope places you in your karmic eye to realize that. This blessing of hope will enable you to fully enjoy the present and make the most from it. This is how you can make time slow down, so it will no longer fly you by. And the other simple truth is that faith and hope place you within your higher self. They engage with that omnipotent level within you, making you hold tight to the hand of your Creator. This is how hope and faith empower your journey. Jay is speechless. He says, I wish someone had told me all this before. My life's journey would have been so much more fulfilling. I could have experienced so much happiness from doing exactly what unfolded before me. I could have been so aware. I could have realized the future that has happened with so much ease and grace and peace. I could have enjoyed the fruits of health and well-being and grown spiritually. I could have given my loved ones so much more of my life than I did. I could have experienced all this on the very same journey I have been on. Instead, I simply emerged rich and successful in a very hollow way. Cyrus sees that Jay is very sad, and he winks to Jay and says, the fact that you're talking to me about it right now has already happened. You're realizing the lessons you need to realize through our conversation. Now you will heal from this heart attack, and you will have a bit more time ahead of you, because that too has happened. Now live the rest of your days with this newfound understanding. Realize your life's journey ahead with equilibrium. And when I come back for you, you will smile and say, let's go, my friend. And rest assured, in your hope and faith, that happy moment for you will be realized when we meet again. And hence Jay gets another chance at life to restore equilibrium in his life, to make things right, and to discover answers to all the new questions that will now emerge in his being. So my dear friends, Cyrus maybe is saying something to all of us here today, to rethink how we live life, how we view the future, how we savor each experience, how we place our hope and use our power of choice, and more. I'm sure there are many who may not agree with Cyrus's message, and that's fine, because we get to live life the way we choose. That's our privilege. And then again, many may pause and consider, what if Cyrus is right? Now, I will leave you here with that question to ponder and keep reflecting on. And think about your compass and all its arrows, its cardinals. Think about bringing them all to equilibrium. And draw the diagram of your compass as often as you like. And add as many arrows as you wish of things you consider important. I just showed 8, but you could have 10, you could have as many. Draw your own compass and monitor where you are every day. Because Cyrus can visit you any day, can visit me any day. But when Cyrus comes, if you practice what I'm suggesting, then when Cyrus does pay you a visit, he will be impressed with you. And you will be more than ready to journey ahead with him. And that is my prayer for each one of you. Now, I will let you in on one of my secrets. It's a bit of an embarrassing secret. But there's one thing I do that really irritates my family. And that is when I want to watch a movie that I think I'm going to enjoy, I watch the end first. So then, once I've seen the end, as the movie unfolds, I watch every little thing that happens. Now I notice every little scene, every costume, every word, all the body languages that moves at play, everything that the producers had put in thousands of hours getting it right. I take it all in. When I watch a movie, the future has happened. Now I'm going to enjoy the journey. Otherwise, knowing my nature, I would be sitting at the edge of my seat, tense and totally engrossed and calculating or predicting what will happen next, and miss the full richness of each scene of the movie production, which took so many thousand man hours to produce. And a bit embarrassing, I do this stuff. But now I must admit I am a bit odd that way. And I absolutely do not suggest you do what I do, because you will only get into trouble. So don't follow my advice here. But on a more serious note, I do live life this way. Knowing that the future has happened, I find myself, therefore, very much at peace at the present, in the present moment. Not worrying about the future, not trying to create a future. Who am I to create a future? But learning about the conversation between Sri Krishna and Arjun, that the enemy had already been slain, made me realize that I am probably on the right course for my journey, at least. Now, when it comes to movies, don't follow what I say, because I may have been spending too much time with Angel Cyrus. Now, just so you don't think of me as inconsiderate, here is another secret. I check the end of the movie when I am alone, so I don't ruin it for everyone else. Just FYI. There are clever ways to stay out of trouble. So, on this light note, I think I'd like to conclude with a meditation of the Karmic Eye. And let's sit back. We are doing well for time. I did want to finish exactly on time, and God willing, we may get there. So sit back, close your eyes, and be completely relaxed. Breathe freely and be completely relaxed. Let all your worries, all your tensions, everything leave you completely. Be totally at peace. And I'd like you to imagine that you're sitting all by yourself in a cinema theater. You're all alone in this cinema theater. You're sitting somewhere in the middle, and there's a huge screen in front of you, and it is dark. Take a moment and make yourself at home in this cinema theater. So you're relaxed, sitting very comfortably, looking towards the screen, but there's nothing on the screen. And then there appears a large golden ring, the full size of the screen. Beautiful golden ring giving off a nice, soft, warm, loving light. Look at this ring. This ring is a symbol of the continuous, because it has no beginning and no end. So as you look at this ring, you repeat in your mind, the origin is continuous. You can replace the word origin with whatever name you choose for your creator. Repeat, the origin is continuous. The origin is continuous. Keep repeating these words. And look at this beautiful golden ring, the size of the whole screen in the cinema, giving off this nice, warm, loving light to you. The origin is continuous. 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 And then inside this golden ring there appears another ring. Same golden ring, which is like 3/4 the size of the screen. The larger ring disappears, and now you're looking at a smaller ring, giving off the same loving light. Just as that golden ring is continuous, it is also a symbol of unity. And you repeat, the origin is unity. And then inside of this golden ring there appears a smaller ring which is half the size of the screen. The larger rings disappear and you're left now with this one ring, half the size of the screen, giving you the same warm loving light. As you repeat, the origin is unity. And then there appears another ring, a quarter size of the screen, much smaller. The largest ring disappears, and now you're looking at this small ring, a quarter of the size of the screen, giving off the same warm, loving light as you repeat, the origin is unity, unity, unity. And then in the middle of this ring appears a tiny ring, just like a dot. It's large enough so that you can just see through it. It's a very small ring that you can barely see through. All the larger rings are gone. Now you're looking at this very small ring, giving off the same warm, loving light. You can barely see through it. You repeat, the origin is unity, unity, unity. And now inside of this ring there is another ring that is formed with the same light, but you cannot see it anymore. You are now unable to see anything. It's nothingness. You are in pure nothingness. You repeat in your mind, nothingness, nothingness, nothingness. Take a few moments and just stay in the nothingness. And in the nothingness, you repeat, the origin is absolute. Absolute, zero. Everything emerges from zero. The origin is absolute. 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 Absolute, zero. Absolute, zero. And you are in nothingness, and now you are at zero thought. And stay in this wonderful place for a bit. You are in nothingness and zero thought. Absolute zero. And then in front of you on the screen there appears that small ring again. So small that you can barely see through it. And it's giving you off this beautiful, warm, loving light as you repeat, the origin is oneness. The origin is oneness. Look at this tiny little ring and keep repeating. Oneness. 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 And then outside of this small ring appears a larger ring, a quarter of the size of the screen. And now you see both rings, the larger and the smaller, giving off the same loving light as you repeat, oneness, oneness. And then there appears a third ring, which fills up half the screen. And you see three rings before you, giving off this warm, loving light as you keep repeating, oneness, oneness. And then there appears a fourth ring, which covers 3/4 of the screen. And all these four rings are giving off that same loving light as you keep repeating, oneness, oneness. And then finally you see the fifth ring. 5 golden rings, the fifth one covering the whole screen. As you keep repeating, oneness, oneness. As you look at these 5 rings, oneness. And the light of all the 5 rings spread to form one circle of light on the screen as you keep repeating oneness, oneness, oneness. And this circle of light grows, covering the whole cinema, covering the entire earth, and it grows into the universes. And you're in the middle of this circle of light as you repeat oneness, oneness. And this circle of light grows so large that it ends up again in nothingness as you repeat oneness, oneness. All you see now is light. Pure, warm, loving light that's filled your being, that's flowing into every cell of your being. And you are surrounded by this light as well. You are in oneness. 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 As the light of oneness connects you with all creation, with your source, you are pure light. And in the presence of this light, you repeat the words, I am the river of life. I am the river of life. I am the river of life. River of life. Keep repeating, river of life. river of life. I am the river of life. And then you repeat, I flow with life, flow with life, flow with life. Keep repeating these words as you flow with life. Flow with life. I flow with life, fearless and free, fearless and free, fearless and free. Keep repeating, fearless and free. Fearless and free. I flow with life, fearless and free. Then you repeat in your mind, I embrace the future. Embrace the future. Embrace the future. I embrace the future with hope and trust. Hope and trust. Hope and trust. Keep repeating these words, hope and trust. Hope and trust. And then you repeat, I seek to realize life. Realize life. Realize life. I seek to realize life in the pure present. Pure present. Pure present. Keep repeating, pure present. Pure present. Pure present. I seek to open my karmic eye. I pray to open my karmic eye. Open my karmic eye. Open my karmic eye. Keep repeating that. Open my karmic eye. Open with love. Open with love. Open with love. Keep repeating, open with love. Open with love. Open with faith. Open with faith. Open with faith. Keep repeating the words, open with faith. Open with faith. Open with light. Open with light. Open with light. Keep repeating, open with light. Open with light. Open with gratitude. Open with gratitude. Open with gratitude. Keep repeating, open with gratitude. Open with gratitude. 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 In the presence of the light, you repeat gratitude. 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 As the light of oneness flows through you, every cell in your being, you repeat oneness. 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 Keep repeating the words oneness. As you are one with the Creator, one with all creation, oneness. Oneness. And then in the light there appears this loving parental hand. And you, like the little child, place your hand in this loving parent's hand and surrender yourself so that you may be led to the light. Surrender, surrender, surrender. As the loving hand of the parent guides you in the light to a rose whose petals are glowing with light, and this loving hand places you in the middle of the rose. Each petal has the name or the word, your linkage word, written on it. And these petals close to become a bud once again. And you're surrounded by your linkage word. You're surrounded by the light as you repeat in your mind your linkage word. I will repeat origin, you will repeat the word you have chosen. In nice, slow rhythm, origin, origin. Keep repeating your linkage word in nice, slow rhythm. Origin. Keep repeating your linkage word. for a few more moments. In the presence of the light, we offer gratitude. Gratitude for all the blessings we have received. Gratitude for being present in today's meditation, for being on the path of search. Gratitude for all the abundance we have received, all the blessings of our loved ones, all in our lives who make us fulfilled. Gratitude for the blessing of the earth, nature, clean water, air, soil. Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. Keep repeating these words as they flow through you and reach out to all creation. Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. You may open your eyes whenever you're ready. I'd like to offer my deepest gratitude to each one of you for being present here, for sharing in the meditation, for bringing your light, your energy, for us all to partake. Deepest, deepest gratitude. And I pray that as you begin to live your life in the pure present, that you may be able to realize the future in a very beautiful, unique way, living in equilibrium that may open your karmic eye and put you at complete peace with every moment of your life. That you not lose any more moments in fear and worry and misperceptions of the future. That you live your life fully and achieve through your search that ultimate realization, that fanafi Allah, that mukti, that enlightenment. I pray you all be blessed with that wonderful, wonderful grace, which is all in the hands of our Creator. But try we must all. Stay blessed, and we look forward to seeing you next Saturday for the Sharing Hope. And then the class after that, we're going to focus completely on the soul and what we have learned from the 10 faculties, but zero in on the soul and its light. And that will be the last class we will do for the Cradle of the Soul series. But this should be a class where we can fully internalize everything and take us one step forward in our understanding. So stay safe, stay blessed.